Hello everyone, myself Dr. Aditya Gupta. In this video, with less than 5 minutes, I wanted to tell you all about glycogen storage disorders for a NEET PG, and I'm sure if you watch this video, you'll get all the storage disorders correct. So there is, we know about glycogen storage disorder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sometimes they ask, sometimes they don't ask. And how do you remember this? So one is von Gerks, P is Pompey's, C is Cories, A is Anderson, M is muscle phosphorylase, H is Hers, and T is Taroi. Okay, now how do you remember this? So the simple mnemonic to remember this is वो physics, chemistry और maths में होशियार था. क्या वो फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री और मैथ में होशियार था? V for von Gerks, P for Pompey's, C for Cories, A for Anderson, M for McArdles, H for Hers, and T for Turoi. Fair enough? But the mnemonic doesn't end here. Let me tell you the beautifulness of this mnemonic. So P is for physics, P is for Pompey's. You remember it's glycogen storage disorder 2. And P is for what? Pediatrics. So Pompey's is the disease that occurs in pediatric population, very, very pediatric population, less than 2 years of age. Okay, and at the same point of time, बच्चों का क्या अच्छा होता है? Children have a golden heart, so it affects their heart the most. That is one of the questions that is asked about Pompey's a lot. And which enzyme is deficient? Obviously, lysosomal acid maltase is deficient. Okay, lysosomal. How to remember the enzyme deficient in other? It's very simple. Which is the English alphabet that comes after C? It is D. So it is D branching enzyme. D branching enzyme. Which is the English alphabet which comes after A? It is B. So it is the branching enzyme. Okay. Now M for McArdles, M for maths, remembering for the mnemonics, and M for muscle phosphorylase. Fair point. H for Hers, H for Hoshiyar, H for hepatic phosphorylase. Fair point. Von Gerk is the first one, so it will affect the very first enzyme or the very last enzyme as far as your glycogen storage disease is concerned, glycogen metabolism is concerned. So that is glucose 6 phosphatase. अब मैं थोड़ा सा ग्लाइकोजन तुम्हें पढ़ा देता हूँ ताकि तुम्हें ये याद रखना बहुत आसान हो जाए, इसके क्लिनिकल फीचर्स भी बहुत आसानी से तुम्हें समझ में आ जाए. सी ग्लाइकोजन इज अ पॉलीमर ऑफ ग्लूकोज, दैट्स वी नो, एंड वो बहुत सारे ग्लूकोज, लॉट ऑफ ग्लूकोज मॉलिक्यूल विल मेक अप ग्लाइकोजन. दैट्स ऑल अप, एंड द ग्लाइकोजन मॉलिक्यूल विल बी ब्रांच्ड. दैट्स ऑल यू नीड टू रिमेंबर एज फार एज ग्लाइकोजन इज कंसर्न, एंड दैट्स अबाउट इट. अब इसको बनाने के लिए क्या, सिंस इट इज अ ब्रांच्ड मॉलिक्यूल, इट विल रिक्वायर अ ब्रांचिंग एंजाइम. इफ दिस ब्रांचिंग एंजाइम इज डेफिशिएंट, इट विल रिजल्ट इन ए के बाद बी आ रहा था, एंडरसन, which is 4. So glycogen won't be made as far as Anderson disease is concerned. Fair point. Second, now come to the breaking down of glycogen. So glycogen is made up of branching. So it को break down करने के लिए there will be one, एक तो D branching enzyme चाहिए होगी. You will require a D branching enzyme. C के बाद क्या आ रहा था? D. So Cori is an enzyme which will have a D branching enzyme. At the same point of time, since D branching won't occur, the initially breaking down of glycogen will require an enzyme called as phosphorylase. So the initial breaking down will happen, but later breaking down won't happen. Since this later breaking down won't happen, there will be a product which will be formed. This will be a project which will be formed, which is called as limit dextrin, because it's limited. It's not being broken down further because D branching enzyme is not there. That's why Cori disease is known as limit dextrinosis. ठीक है. एंड लास्ट में बनता है ग्लूकोज 6 फॉस्फेट, जब हम लोग ग्लाइकोलिसिस भी पढ़ रहे होते हैं. ग्लूकोज 6 फॉस्फेट इज ब्रोकन डाउन बैक टू ग्लूकोज बाय ग्लूकोज 6 फॉस्फेटेज. दिस इज द एंजाइम विच इज डेफिशिएंट एज फार एज von Gerk is concerned. Right? Now the clinical features, very easily explaining the clinical features. All of them will have hypoglycemia. Fair point? All of them will have hypoglycemia. Von Gerk will typically have hypoglycemia. Same, Pompey's will also have hypoglycemia, but in Pompey's enzyme deficient is acid maltase, and like I said, P for pediatric, P for Pompey's, and बच्चों का दिल अच्छा होता है, they are good at heart, so it will affect the heart. C for Cori, C के बाद आता है D branching enzyme, so obviously hypoglycemia will be there, and initially there will be some breakdown, but later it won't be able to break down, will result in formation of this limit dextrin, because there's a limit to that glycogen molecule being broken down, because D branching, C ke baad D branching enzyme is not there. Done. The most common question asked is M say. M for muscle phosphorylase, M for McArdles. Now muscle won't be able to break down glucose. So if muscle won't be able to break down glucose, but your hepatic phosphorylates is working fine. So normal में hypoglycemia नहीं होगा. But when you're working out, if you're exercising, then muscle phosphorylates is required. So they will have what is known as exercise intolerance. They will have what is known as exercise intolerance. I'm sorry for my bad handwriting. I'm not able to write properly on iPad. But that's about it. Go and solve all the questions, and I'm pretty sure you will realize that you're able to solve most of the question. Very simply revising it all in next 1 minute. वो physics, chemistry और maths में होशियार था. V for Von Gerks, 2P for Pompey's, C for Corey's, or say A for Anderson, M for muscle phosphor McArdle's, H for hers, and T for today. I'll write it down. वो physics, chemistry और maths में होशियार था. V for Von Gerks, P for Pompey, C for Corey, A for Anderson, M for McArdle's, H for hers, and T for Troy. ठीक है, तो 1 2 3 4 5 6. द एंजाइम कैसे याद रखें? वेरी इजी. P for Pompey's बच्चों की, that's why it will affect the lysosomes first. Lysosome acid maltase. बच्चों में दिल अच्छा होता है. It will affect the cardiac system for less than 2 years of age. P for pediatric, P for बच्चों का दिल अच्छा है, cardiology. C के बाद आता है B, C के बाद आता है D, तो D branching of enzyme is affected. A के बाद आता है B, branching enzyme is affected. M for McArdle's, M for muscle phosphorylase, and it is the 5th one. ठीक है. H for hers, H for hepatic phosphorylase. Von Gerk is the first. Remember, Von Gerk is the first. Since Von Gerk is the first, it will affect the last enzyme, which is glucose-6 phosphatase. सब में hypoglycemia common होगा. Specific features सबके क्या क्या होंगे? McArdle muscle phosphorylase, तो exercise intolerance होंगी. P for pediatric. Von Gerk is the classic कि तुम्हें hypoglycemia के episodes होने वाले हैं. C for Corey's में D branching enzyme है, तो उसमें limit dextrin form हो जाएगा. Go and try and solve your previous year questions. You will realize you're able to solve most of them. Thank you and have a nice day.